Hi, this is William from Great Affordable Watches, and today I'm gonna go through my watch collection. I haven't done a watch collection update video in quite a while now, so I thought it was about time to do another update. But before we go through my watch collection, I just wanna say thank you for all the support. We are almost at 13,000 subscribers, and to me that's just incredible. So I just want to thank you all for watching my videos and supporting me. But now let's take a look at my watch collection. And we can start in the top left corner. This is the Dargis Thunderbolt, and I've had this watch for quite a while. I haven't done a review unfortunately on this watch, but hopefully in the near future I will review it. The Dargis Thunderbolt is from a pretty small micro brand, I should say, Dargis, and this is in my opinion the best watch they are producing. And this is a pilot inspired watch, and in my opinion the size of this watch is perfect. It's only 38 millimeters, and I think this watch for the money offers incredible value, and you're getting 150 meter water resistance and great finishing. It got sandblasted case, sapphire crystal Miura 1950 movement, and I think the looks of this watch is just really nicely done, and I think for the price this is probably one of the better pilot inspired watches you can get. Yes, you could get a Hamilton, which looks fantastic as well, but this one is 150 meter water resistant and got a screw down crown with one of the most robust winding actions and screw down action I have felt in this price range. So overall I really like this watch, and this is probably one of my favorite small watches in my collection, and I think it just sits really nicely on my 7-inch wrist. Unfortunately I don't wear this watch that often, but when I do I immediately get reminded of why I really like this watch. And it's pretty thin as well, considering the water resistance. It's somewhere around 10 millimeters, between 10 and 11 millimeters. So I think the size of this watch is really nice. But let's keep going and take a look at the second watch. And the second watch is the Mido Baroncelli Heritage 3. And this is a dress watch, and actually one of my favorite dress watches in this price range. It's 39 millimeters with very short lug-to-lug distance, so it wears very comfortably, and it's only 6.75 millimeters thin, so it's incredibly thin for having an automatic movement. And the movement is the top grade ETA 2892, and for me the value of this watch is just incredible. It's great looking with the heat 3D blue hand and the egg-like textured dial, and I just really like this watch. I don't wear dress watches that often in general, but I think this is a real keeper, and I really like this watch. So if you're looking for a reasonably sized dress watch in this price range, around $700 perhaps, I think this is a great option, and we'll probably keep this a long time, as I think this is my favorite dress watch, white dial dress watch in this price range. It sits very nicely on the wrist, and as I said, it's very thin. It's almost like a quartz watch, so I think it's very impressive that they have put an automatic movement, and a very good automatic movement, in this thin case. But now let's take a look at the third watch. The third watch is the Seiko Matic 5216, and I've done a recent video of this watch and the other Seiko, and this vintage watch is probably among my absolute favorite vintage watches, around $200 give or take, and I think the value this watch are offering is just incredible. You got the high-end Seiko 5216 movement, which is basically the same as the movement in a lot of King Seikos, a bit lower grade, perhaps some different materials, but the foundation, the design of the movement is practically the same. And it's reasonably sized at 35-36 millimeters, and I just love this watch. And Seikos, vintage Seikos in general, Lord Matics, Lord Marvels, King Seikos are all fantastic watches. So if you're interested in knowing more about Seiko Lord Matics, I can leave a link to the to my video about this watch down in the description. But let's move on to the second Lord Matic. And this is the Seiko Lord Matic 5606, and this looks a bit different from the other Lord Matic I got, and the movement in this one is also a high-end Seiko movement, but the movement is made by Suva, and the movement in that Seiko was made by Diani. And as I talked about more in depth in my video about these watches, basically Seiko in the 60s and 70s had two different factories who basically competed with each other to make the absolute best mechanical movement in that era. So I got a watch with a movement from each factory because I thought that was pretty interesting. But overall, I really love this watch as well, and I think they offer just incredible value and they look fantastic as well. So yeah, this is a real keeper, and I will have to get it serviced, both watches serviced, and then I can start wearing them a lot more. And of course, I got the Seiko Alpinist, one of my absolute favorite watches in this price range. I just love this watch, and this is a special piece to me because I have had a couple of Alpinists before, but sold them, but now I bought it and I will keep this one because when I didn't have the Alpinist, I really missed it. So I will hold on to this, and especially now when it's discontinued, I think a lot of people want this watch, and I think the prices will go up on these watches. I won't sell it, but I think it's just fun to know that. And overall, I really love this watch. The green dial is amazing looking with the golden markers. As we all know, the case finishing on this watch is just incredible. I get a lot of questions about the Sarb 033 versus the Alpinist. If I only had to pick one, I would pick the Alpinist, but both watches are great, but I would give the slight edge to the cage finishing of the Alpinist and the water resistance. But as many have pointed out, the Sarb 033 is a bit more versatile, even though I think this green goes with almost everything. Okay, let's move on to the sixth watch. And this is the Hamilton Intramatic, and this is one of my most recent watches. I've been looking at this watch for quite a while, and I really wanted to pair it up with a nice mesh bracelet. And I must say, this watch is just incredible. It's perfect in size, it's very slim, it's very vintage inspired. It almost looks like a watch from that era, especially because of the pretty small size. And the movement, the TA2892, is gorgeous looking and brings down the thickness. And this watch is below 10 millimeters. The sapphire crystal is a bit toned, so the case is probably around 7 or 8 millimeters. I will do a review of this watch in the future, and this is probably the best value dress watch around $500. I think in Europe they are a lot more expensive than $500, but in the United States you can have this for around 500, and for that money it just beats basically every other watch, especially now when the SARB 033 is discontinued. So stay tuned for the review of this watch, but spoiler alert, I really like this watch. Okay, this is the Zodiac Super Seawolf 53 skin, and this is a really nice diver and among my favorite divers actually, and especially in the size and price. I also paired this with a pretty nice mesh bracelet. I had this on a rubber strap before, which I really liked, but I wanted to try it on a mesh. I think it works great. And I have a recent review actually, of this watch on my channel, so go check it out if you want to know more about it. I think Zodiac did an amazing job with this reissue, and this is basically the exact same watch as the old original one, except it's a bit bigger at 39 or 40 millimeters. And it got the in-house STP 111 movement from Fossil, and many people say it's a great movement. It's basically an ETA clone, ETA 2824 clone, but with some other components, which some people argue is for the better. I think for the price and in this size, I think this is a really nice diver, and I just love the aesthetics of this watch, and I don't know if you can get anything better when it comes to a historical diver in this price range. If you do, let me know down in the comments, because I really like vintage inspired divers, and especially when it is this simple and this clean. Okay, let's move on to the 8th watch, and this is the Rado Captain Cook. I've had this watch since fall or autumn 2017, and these have actually become my absolute favorite watches of all time that I have owned, of course. And I absolutely love this little diver. I think Rado really hit the mark with this one. This is a reissue of the original Captain Cook. I think it was released 1962. This is limited to 1962 pieces as well, and this is in my opinion one of the best looking diving watches out there in any price range. I'm a bit biased of course, but I truly love this watch. The quality, the looks, especially the looks of this watch is just incredible. It got a very nice ceramic bezel. The brown dial is curved. It's very hard to pick up, especially when the sapphire crystal is also curved, but together I think it looks amazing. And as I said, this is a 37mm case, but I still think it wears perfectly on my 7-inch wrist, which we're gonna see. And I think for my 7-inch wrist this is definitely not too small. Now I really like small watches, but the size of this watch is perfect in my opinion. And it's not a very thick diver either. Unfortunately, it's only water resistant down to 100 meters, but you can still go swimming with it. So I wouldn't worry about that. But overall, I really love this watch, and I will of course do a review in the near future. And if you can find this watch, this is a limited edition as I said, I can highly recommend picking it up. And don't be afraid of the size, because the size really complements the look of this watch, and it wears a bit bigger than 37, I'm gonna be honest. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for most people, but in general I just love this watch. But now let's move on to the 9th watch, and this is the Christopher Ward C5 Slimline Malvern. And I have also done a review of this watch, and in the review I said I really like this watch, and got a beautiful manual wind movement, and a really beautiful blue sunburst dial, and I think especially together with this Hirsch golden brown strap, I think it just looks amazing. And some people don't like this logo, and I was a bit skeptical at first, but I think overall this watch looks really great. And even though the location is a bit asymmetrical, I still really like this watch. I don't know if they are producing this watch anymore, but I can highly recommend it if you're looking for a blue dial dress watch that is not too expensive. And the winding action is a joy to wind, and the crown's a bit oversized, which is perfect for a manual wind only watch. I really like this watch overall. I have a bit too many dress watches now, and I don't wear dress watches that often, so I don't know if I should keep this watch or sell it. And this is the Genoa Ocean Rover, and this is a highly controversial watch. Some people don't like it, but I can put it like this. This is a extremely high quality watch, and probably one of the better quality watches you can get in this price range. The complete package, all the finishing, the quality of every part is amazing. The dial, and especially the loom, is probably one of the better vintage looking looms I have ever seen on a diving watch. And I must say the quality of this watch is fantastic, and yes, you can argue that this is just a very expensive homage to the Submariner, but I can still recommend this watch because the quality you're getting for your money is still fantastic. And the looks, I think I'm gonna be honest and say that this one looks more interesting than a new Submariner, and yes, that's highly controversial, but I really like the vintage look, and it's very understated but still very vintage. I don't wear this watch as often these days now when I have the Rado, but this is probably still one of my favorite vintage looking diving watches I have ever owned. And if you're looking for a homage, I think a sub homage or a extremely high quality diver in general, that looks fantastic, and don't really mind the homage aspect of this watch, I think this is probably as good of a watch you're gonna get for this kind of money when it comes to the quality. That's my watch collection, and I have a couple of new watches since my last update a year ago, and I don't know which watches I'm gonna keep. This one is a definitely keeper, and my three Seikos as well. The problem when you have 10 watches or more, you don't really wear them all, but I really try to wear them. But the Rado Captain Cook takes away a lot of time from the other watches, and also the Alpinist is almost a perfect watch in my opinion. So these two watches get a lot of wrist time, and I haven't had the Hamilton that long, but this is a very elegant watch, a very dressy dress watch, if you can put it like that. But I'm gonna try to wear this more, as I really like this watch overall. And my two Seikos, these two Seikos are definitely keepers, as I love the history behind them and the watches overall. So yeah, I don't know which watches I'm gonna sell. What do you think? Should I keep them all? Should I keep all of these watches, or should I sell some of them? It would be very interesting to hear your guys' opinion about this, as I don't really know myself actually. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Also let me know if you want me to do these kind of videos more regularly, and if there's anything else you want to see when it comes to watches, put your thoughts down in the comments as well. Okay, thanks for watching, and I see you in the next one. Bye.